Hello, and welcome back to the studio. I'm Dr. Wiggo, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite games. Yeah, I know I have a lot of favorite games, but this is one of my favorite games. Tales of Xillia Remastered. It's a Tales game. So Tales of Xillia is from Bandai Namco, and as part of their 30th anniversary, which is this year, I think it's the Tales 30th anniversary, not Bandai Namco's 30th anniversary, they're remastering a bunch of their games. The first one was Tales of Graces F, which came out back in January. I did not do a video, even though it is also one of my favorite games. There have been 17 of these games, Tales of games. 18 if you count Dawn of the New World, which I do. It's another one of my favorites, even though everyone else hates it. So how we're going to work this is first I'm going to kind of give you my history with the Tales of games, including this one. And then I'll talk about what's new in the remaster. Then I'll talk a little bit about the story, no spoilers. And then I'll give you my review, which you can probably guess is going to be a decent review because I love the original game that this is a remaster of. Well, let's get into it. But first I'm going to talk about my history with JRPGs, and if you don't find that interesting, and why would you, go ahead and skip on to the next chapter where we'll get into what's new in the remaster. And if you've played the original game, all you need to watch really is that section, because after that I'll be talking about the story, which you will already know if you've played the game before. Although I guess you could skip to the review after that, and I'll tell you what I think about this version. We'll see shortly. So I picked up my PS3 when it first came out back in 2006, like around Christmas time. I was in Best Buy and they had a pile of them and I just picked one up and bought it. Now, you know from watching previous videos on the channel that my first real JRPG was Hyperdimension Neptunia in 2011. And that's when I fell in love with JRPGs. But wait, Tales of Graces F came out in 2012, just a year later. And that's where I really fell in love with JRPGs. I think Sophie is one of the greatest characters in any JRPG of all time. I love that game. So when Tales of Xillia came out the following year, I not only bought it, I bought the limited edition. And if you've been watching this channel, you knew I owned that game because right here is Milla Maxwell, the figurine that came with the limited edition of Xillia in 2013. She's even standing on a channeling circle. Oh, I just noticed. This is a rare limited edition. This is number 23,298 of Unspecified. Then the Symphonia Chronicles came out in 2014, which had Dawn of the New World in there, as well as the remastered Tales of Symphonia. Then Xillia 2, a direct sequel to this game, came out also in 2014, and in fact is going to be the next one to be remastered. It should be coming out in the coming year. Then Tales of Xillia in 2015. Everyone hated that game. I liked it a little bit, but only a little bit. But it set up a later game, which I'll talk to in just a minute. The end of 2015 is when I discovered Trails of Cold Steel. And so that started me off on the Trails series, and there's a whole bunch of videos. I'll link those down below of all my Trails games. Love that series most of all. The Tales of games are great, but they're not connected, except Xillia 1 and Xillia 2 are direct sequels. The ones that aren't direct sequels are not connected, not the same worlds. Then the next Tales game came out the year after that, 2016, Tales of Berseria, which had another female protagonist. Milla was the first, although she was a co-protagonist. Velvet in Berseria was the first true main female protagonist. And Berseria was a prequel to Zestiria, the one everybody hated, and was a much better game. And then the most recent Tales game was Tales of Arise in 2021. So it's been a few years. We're due for another new Tales game. Tales of Graces F Remastered came out in January of this year, and then Xillia came out on Halloween. And yes, I have played nonstop so I could finish the game so I could do this review. If you've played the game before, let me just run through the things that are new in this remaster from the original, and there's lots. The first thing is the grade shop. All Tales games have the grade shop, which is after you finish your first playthrough, then you earn grade during that playthrough that you can then buy things that will help you with the game. This remaster, you get the grade shop from the beginning with enough grade to buy everything, including a new thing called 50% off all items. So basically everything in the stores is half off from the very beginning if you click on that. I would recommend not turning on all this stuff in the grade shop unless you've played the game before. If you want to get the real experience, you can turn on a few things. Like I definitely turn on the be able to hold 99 items instead of like 15. or 30. I don't remember because I turned it on. So I had 99 items for my whole playthrough. Also in this version, all DLC from the original, except for a few licensed costumes from like games that Bandai Namco didn't own. They had to go, but all the other DLC from the original is in there, including like the 300,000 gold and lots of stuff. That doesn't mean this game doesn't have its own DLC, but it only has like 6, and they're all level ups. You can level up your characters 40 levels for $14. You don't spend it all at once. Because as with all JRPGs, the amount of experience you need towards the end to be leveling up to get to those last few levels, it's really hard. If in the Great Shop you turned on the 5 times experience and double experience, which should get you 10 times experience, well, then you won't have any problem. But again, your first time through, I really wouldn't recommend that. Also in the remaster, they've added a autosave function. So after every major story beat, I think after leaving almost every dungeon, they'll do a little autosave. You'll know it's autosaving because it'll say autosaving down in the corner, but you also won't be able to do anything. The controller will be non-responsive while it's autosaving, so you can't do anything. Oh, and a lovely upgrade, destination icon. So there's a little gold star that appears where you need to be. It's not as good as in a lot of other games, but very useful, and it will come in very handy. Oh, and this one is great. They've added icons for sub-events. So when you look on the map, if you see an exclamation point, well, that's a sub-event or side quest. Also in the remaster, all chests and items appear on the map. So when you're running around hunting things, and I'll tell you later why you're going to want to run around hunting things, they're all on the map, including the ones in caves. You have to go into these little caves, and sometimes there's a chest in there, and sometimes there's not. Well, the map will tell you if there's a chest in there, so you don't have to bother to go in. They've added retry for all battles, not just boss battles. So if you get killed by some mob that you weren't expecting, you can do retry. They've added battle subtitles. So when they're yelling things in battle, you'll get subtitles on that, and the little battle win quotes, which Tales is famous for. They always have cutesy little win quotes. Sometimes they're related to the story. Sometimes they're just fun. One of my favorite things about Tales is the things they say at the end of a battle. There's a better dash mode for running around. Oh, and here's a big one. Auto event skip for already seen events. So when you're doing a subsequent playthroughs, you turn this on and it will just skip over any cutscenes that you've already seen. But if you haven't seen it, it will play it. This is very important for reasons I'll explain later because you're going to play through twice as 2 different characters and they diverge. When you play the second time, it'll skip all the ones you saw when you were together, but when you're alone, it'll show you those. This is my personal quality of life improvement that I love more than anything. In all these games, going back forever in JRPGs, opening chests and picking things up, you have to line up just right to get the word to appear so you can open it. Well, now there's an easy open. If you're just standing next to it, the little open thing will appear. The thing you're looking at doesn't even have to be in the frame. In the original game, it had to be in frame. You had to be looking at it before it would let you pick it up. Now you can just grab it. So those are all the improvements they've made in the remaster, and there are plenty, and I'm not even counting the better frame rates and better resolution. We'll talk about that a little later. For now, let's talk about the story. Like I said earlier, this is a dual protagonist game. So you have Jude Mathis, a medical student, and Milla Maxwell, a mysterious woman who claims to be the Lord of the Spirits. This lovely lady. A tip, do your first playthrough as Jude, because the parts where they're apart, the real main story stuff is going on Jude's playthrough, and when you're away from him as Milla, it's completely different stuff. And then when you get back together, you won't know what just happened, and playthrough as Jude, trust me. Now, the world you're on in this game is called Riza Maxia. Great name for a planet, huh? It's a planet where spirits and humans cooperate to allow magic. Humans have mana lobes in their brain that can generate mana that they can feed to the invisible spirits and ask them to channel magic and channel arts and do stuff. At the beginning of the game, Jude and Milla kind of get thrown together and the mystery and the adventure begins because there's a lot of mysteries and a lot of adventure. Now, more party members will join you along the way. You'll pick up a mercenary early on who will kind of act as your tutorial. He'll teach you how to do stuff. Then you'll pick up a little girl who's got a really interesting backstory. And then a much older man who's like a butler, but clearly he's more than a butler. You'll find out his story as the game progresses. The last party member that joins you is one of Jude's childhood friends. And then you go on your adventure. Let's talk about game mechanics, because this game doesn't work like a lot of other games. For one thing, to get better gear, you don't just go to a new town and the shops have new stuff. No. You have to level up the shops by donating them materials and gold. So you have to become a collector and do side quests to gather all these materials that you're going to need to level up the shops. Because like your characters, the early levels are easy. Then it gets really hard. You have to give them a lot of stuff. For me, this was no big deal because I run around and pick up everything in every JRPG always. I always run off all the side paths and pick up everything. And in this game, it's all marked on the map, so you can pick everything up so that you can level up the shops, so you can get better weapons and armors and accessories. And by the way, they're all separate shops, so you have to level up a bunch of different shops to get all this stuff. Similarly, to increase your stats and learn new skills and learn new arts to cast, it's a system called the Lilium Orb. It's not a tree, it's like a spider web. And you go around and pick off the things you want, like increase your strength or increase your vitality or increase your INT, which is magic. There are also orbs like floating in here, and when you surround them by selecting the points around them, you get whatever's in there. And a lot of times it'll be a skill, which you can set off the skills menu, or it'll be a new art that you can set onto your art, so for combat. So you can go around and pick and choose. Now, by the way, these things are huge. You can spend hours messing with it, or after a while, you'll probably do what I did and just hit auto level, and it'll just... The battle system is what Bandai Namco calls the Dual Raid Linear Motion Battle System. That's a mouthful. You control one character, and then the other three in your party, you can only have 4 at a time, act independently, but there's really incredibly detailed strategy settings and auto items where they will do things and automatically use items to revive people and all. It's actually quite amazing, and it works fairly well. And again, you're only controlling one character while all these other 3 are running around doing things independently of you. Not completely independently, because they also introduce a link system where you link with another character, and then they will behave in different ways. Like if you go to attack something, they will run around behind them so they can flank them. And if an enemy comes to attack you from behind, they will run around and stop them so that you don't get hit from behind. Being hit from behind leads to more critical hits, so you don't want to get hit from behind, and so your link partner will stop all that. And then eventually, further on in the game, this will lead to linked arts, where you can do arts linked together, where you work together, and art chaining, where you can then chain another art and another art and another art, and these chains can get really incredibly long. It's really a fascinating system. Plus, you can switch links at any time. So if the person you're linked to isn't ideal for the enemy you're fighting, you can link to another character on the field. Or you can swap party members in and out with the D-pad. The D-pad's very important in the battles because it's how you link. You link with the D-pad by pointing at the character, and then you swap party members in and out with the D-pad. I found it to be a very satisfying battle system. I found it satisfying in the original game, and it's been improved a bit in this game. Not a lot. It's still the same battle system. So if you liked it in the original game, you'll like it in this game. Now let's get to my review. I said at the beginning, this game was already one of my favorites. So yes, I liked it. But now it's better. It has upscaled resolution. It was 1080p, and now it's 4K, and better frame rates, up to 60 frames per second. By the way, it was 60 frames per second in battles on the PS3. They were ahead of their time. Oh, and sorry, Switch, you only get 30 frames per second on anything. It doesn't do 60 frames per second on the Switch. But on PS5 and Xbox and Steam, you can get 60 frames per second. Maybe even more on Xbox and Steam. I'm reviewing the PS5 version. Plus, those quality of life improvements have made this so much better. The story is sweeping with lots of twists and turns and things you won't see coming. If you've played a lot of Tales games, there's one twist that you will see coming because it's a twist that happens in almost every single Tales game. If you know, you know, and if you don't, you'll be amazed when it comes around because it happens in all the Tales games. One of the downsides is you have to play through twice. The second playthrough is necessary to see the whole story. But with auto event skip, it's much faster the second time through. I finished Jude's story on my first playthrough in about 30 hours. And now I'm at 38 hours, and I'm well past a quarter of Milla's story. So maybe 45, 50 hours to do both stories. I like to get platinum trophies. And the platinum trophy for this one is a little time consuming because each of your 6 party members has a special skill. There's a trophy for using their special skill 150 times, which means you have to play as each character long enough to use their special skill 150 times in order to get the platinum trophy. I went back and looked, and I got the platinum on the original Tales of Xillia on the PS3, so I'm not going to be doing this. I'm not going to spend all those hours, all that time-consuming stuff. But I have gotten most of the trophies on my first playthrough. I abused the grade shop. I played it before. If you've played it before, go ahead and use the grade shop at the beginning. If you haven't played it before, if you use too many of those things in the grade shop, you're kind of cheating yourself a little bit. But hey, it's your money, it's your game, it's a single player, do whatever you want. So what's my overall recommendation? I highly recommend this. I give it 8 out of 10, which if you look at Metacritic is just about what everybody's giving it. It's like an 8 out of 10 from everybody. And it's only $40, $39.99 on Switch, Xbox, PS5, and Steam. So for $40, it's a heck of a lot of fun. I love this game. It's so much fun. This woman is amazing. She's a bit of a looker too, which is commented on a lot in-game where people keep talking about how good looking she is. Although that hair. So that's my review of Tales of Xillia Remastered. Everything that was good about the original game is there, and all these quality of life improvements and again, higher resolutions, faster frame rates, all these things just combine to make this so much better. In fact, the resolution improvements are so great that I have seen videos of people complaining that the reflections in the water, especially at the beginning, are so much sharper and clearer in the remake that in the original they were a little blurry like a reflection would be in water. But in this one, it's just the same thing. If that's all you can find to complain about, it's a pretty good game. And it's a pretty good game. I highly recommend it. Go out and buy it. That's it for today. See you next time. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye. And now I got to go figure out what I'm going to do next week because I'm running out of things to talk about. Thanks for staying to the end. Bye-bye.